Yo, Salim, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Life Review Podcast. Can't believe it's already week 4. Like to thank everyone for joining us. Like to thank my co-host, moderator, and Wiz, Sunsaray in the building. Like to welcome all my other moderators. Appreciate you for joining us. I start out the show by saying Salim, which is an ancient Sumerian greeting. So, like I said, in I think episode 1 and 2, like we always pay homage to our Egyptian ancestors, but prior to them, we had our Sumerian ancestors. So always open the episode by saying Salim. And also it's a shout out to peace and blessings be upon him, one of my old mentors, Salim Yogi Shanti. So I feel like that was very fitting that the ancient Sumerian greeting is Salim, and Salim, who actually transitioned, I want to say a month or two ago, that's his name or whatever. So I thought that was fitting. This show was created to help you review your life prior to transitioning. There's a popular metaphysical concept that we go through what's called a life review when we transition. It was shown upon me or given upon me from the spirit to name the show the Life Review Podcast to encourage you to review your life before you transition while you're still in a human body. And you do that by asking yourself 3 critical questions. Am I fulfilling my purposes or things you know you should be doing? Am I learning my life lessons, the lessons you came down here to learn? Every time you incarnate, there's certain lessons that you came here to learn. And also, am I overcoming my spiritual blocks, which are temporary barriers or roadblocks as you transition or as you transcend to your higher self? So are you fulfilling your purposes, learning your life lessons, and overcoming your spiritual blocks? Every week, that's my goal, to encourage you to do that while you're still in the physical form. Myself, I've been on the path for a minute now, probably 15 years, maybe longer than that. And the reason I feel like I've grown, I'm just speaking for myself, is because I'm always reviewing myself. I'm never complacent. I don't listen to people saying, oh, you're this, oh, you're that, you help me with this, you help me with that. I'm self-critical. I don't need anyone to tell me about what I should be doing. And in my opinion, that's helped me catapult to where I am today. And I'm still work in progress like everyone, but I feel like I've elevated enough to help other people help themselves. Um, so let's get into the intro, and then I'll come back and we'll get into today's episode, which is entitled Creation. All right, what it do, what it do. Peace to everybody in the chat. I see you, Grand Risings, peace, beloved, Ashes, and all of that good stuff. To everybody that's listening to this live. Like I said, it gives me more energy to do this talking to live people as opposed to doing this pre-recorded. Also, I want to, from the jump, give out the email so we can make sure that we have some guests. If you want to come on and be a guest, you have a personal issue or something you're going on in your life and you would like my professional opinion, make sure to email us at thelifereviewpodcast@gmail.com. Put your question, and if it's nothing fugazi, or if you're a genuine person, Sunsa Ray will actually give you the link to join me live. You don't have to put your camera on. You can put a fake name on, but I want to interact with you in real time. So the best, one of my clearest gifts is the ability to work with people one-on-one. I also do one-on-one private consultations, but the spirit told me I need to make myself available to the greater humanity. So I'm doing this free of charge. You don't have to like, you don't have to comment, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is bring your butt here and come through live. So if you want to come on 101, a mini consultation, make sure to email Sensoray at thelifereviewpodcast@gmail.com. Do that ASAP Rocky so I can know if I have anybody I want to come through. Each episode is set up the same way. There's 3 segments. The first segment is I'm going to build or give you affirmation on what the topic is. The topic today is creation. My will is that the affirmation, that you internalize it and put it in formation and get some sort of revelation from it. The second part is I actually work with people one-on-one. I take 3 to 4 people, depending on how many people we have come through. The more we do this, the more people are going to want to come through, and I'm gonna have to regulate it a lot more. But right now, with it being new, we only got what 50 to 100 people watching it live. It's a fitting time if you want to holler at me 101. Also, you can double back if I've already spoken with you. You want to come on, give me an update, or have a follow-up question. You can feel free to do so. So that's the second part. And the third part, which seems to be, you know what I mean, baby, the most popular so far, is the rapid questions, where you put questions in the chat. Obviously, I'll prioritize any super chats, but you don't have to make a super chat. If the Wiz Sunsaray feel that it'll be a fitting question for the show, I'll go ahead and answer it in real time. So give you some information. You put in information by internalizing it, do our one-on-ones, and also do the question and answers. So today's episode is entitled Creation. And whenever I get these, I usually get these during meditation, or I do a form of scrying. I usually get all my episode topics through that scrying technique that I do. You can find that in the spiritual accelerator for all my accelerator members under modules. It's a module, or no, not under module, under webcast. There's a webcast entitled Scry on it, where I teach you my exact technique that I use. But during the scrying sessions, usually when I get the revelation as far as what the topic is going to be. What came to me this week is creation. And I want to read, or create. And I want to read the definition of create real quick so we're on the same page. Create means to cause something to happen as a result of one's actions. To cause something to happen as a result of one's actions. So remember, that's the definition of create. And I want to start out by sharing a story. And it's actually a story I've shared before in different settings. But let's just say I know a person very close to me, and let's just call him Chris. All right. Now, this real name, not going to tell you who it is, but let's just call him Chris. Chris grew up in a very religious household, very religious. Dad's a preacher, mother's in the church, grandparents in the church. Most of his family is in the church. Is a very religious and not as spiritual, even though they can be spiritual. But I would say this family is more religious, not spiritual. And Chris, he was a good student, straight A's. As far as I know, he never got a B. Even when he went to college, he never got a B. Straight A students. In fact, he was over 4.0. I'm in Ohio. In Ohio, you can get over a 4.0 if you get extra credit and get 101 in different classes and stuff like that. So you can get a 4.1. You feel me? So he was an A student, never had a B, never had any legal problems, didn't go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude was a quote unquote perfect child. Like, even growing up, like on the block, we lived on the same block. Like, he never got into any trouble. He was usually one of the youngest people in the crew, but he was always just there, always happy-go-lucky, and just like I said, just a real quote-unquote good kid, for lack of better words. So Chris went on, and he went to I'm pretty sure it's like an all-black college or whatever, and he eventually majored in medicine. Okay, so he graduated from college with an undergraduate degree, as far as on a fast track to be a doctor. In fact, he went to medical school after college, straight went to medical school after college. And he was probably, I want to say, a semester away from being a doctor. Literally a semester away from being a doctor. Not 3 years, 4 years, like a couple months or something like that. Some dumb short amount of time from being a doctor. So Chris, I remember we had a conversation. I don't know if it was in the flesh or on the phone, but he told me, he was like, Ali, man, I'm done with it. I'm not going to pursue being a doctor. He said, I wanted to be a doctor to create change and help people. He's very pro-black, pro-melanated, whatever. And he was like, I want to help my community. And I don't think I can do that as far as being a doctor. From what I can tell, is more harmful for me to be a doctor and try to give back to the community than to pick another career path. And at this time, I'm full-blown conscious, you know? So I was like, man, you got to follow your heart. If you don't want to do that, Chris, you have to follow your heart, follow your spirit. And he said something to me that I never forget. And he said that a lot of people that he go to medical school with, for one, didn't look like him. He referred to them as Europeans or whatever. He said a lot of them are second and third generation doctors. Their dad was a doctor. Their grandpa was a doctor and stuff like that. And Indra Ali, a lot of these don't even want to be a doctor. They're just going there because that's what their parents expect them to do. And that just stuck with me. You know what I mean? So I was like, damn, that's crazy, yo. And also, as a sidebar, I was heavy into researching the pineal gland at the time. Shout out to one of my first websites, was called thirdeyeactivation.com. To this day, our business email is thirdeyeactivation@gmail.com. So that shows you how heavy I was into the pineal gland. And this was before you can just Google it, and there was a plethora of articles and Wikipedia pages and YouTube. Wasn't nobody talking about the third eye or the pineal gland at the time. So that shows you how far back that this was or whatever. So I remember asking him, like, man, do they talk about the pineal gland in medical school? And he just kind of looked at me like with a blank face, like, no, like, not really. It's just a organ or whatever and whatnot. And I knew right there, like, I already knew that they didn't teach you everything you needed in medical school, but that just confirmed from someone firsthand that's in the medical industry or in medical school that they don't even teach you anything. I also asked them about, do they talk about nutrition as being a form of medicine? The father of medicine, or the father of medicine, Hippocrates, which the doctors take the Hippocratic oath, he said, let food be your medicine, let medicine be your food. But in medical school, according to Chris, he said they don't teach you anything about nutrition and stuff like that. So those were red flags to me. Obviously, with him being on the inside, he was seeing all the red flags. And like I said, one of the things that stuck out the most was him saying that a lot of people are third and second generation doctors. So long story short, he dropped out of medical school. And you can only imagine how his parents felt. You can only imagine how his family felt. You can only imagine how his friends felt. And then furthermore, like I told you, he grew up mad religious. He also started dabbling into the more science community. Like I remember that call too, like when he was like, man, I'm about to go holler at the Moors. And my spirit told me when we had that conversation that he was going to be very heavily entrenched into the Moor science. To this day, he is still connected to the Moors. So he dropped out of medical school to pursue another career path, doesn't matter what it is. And he never was in the church, but he told his parents that he was joining the Moor Science Temple of America and becoming a Moor, to the fact where he wore the headdress, and everything, the whole garb. If you see him, you can tell that he's not a regular quote unquote Negro. You know what I'm talking about? So you can only imagine his parents, how they felt. Of course, they weren't happy. Of course, they were disappointed. Of course, they were let down because they expected him to become the first doctor in his family. They expected him to take a career path that would be held in high regard. How many people do you know right now are in a job because it's a good title? Nurse, doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountants. Like they're in positions that they really don't want to be in. In fact, when they come home, they have to drink or smoke or do something just to unwind, because they're doing something that their spirit didn't mesh with. Chris was wise enough, and to this day, he's one of the most wise people I know, even though he's younger than me. He's one of the most wise people I know. Chris recognized at a young age that path would not be fulfilling for him. So he jumped out of it. And what he's doing now, last time I hollered at him, even though it's a respectable job, what he does, he's at peace. He's happy. He doesn't feel bogged down and weighed down because he took a career path that he didn't want to do. He created his own lane. He created his own lane. And the plus degree to that is you're really not creating your own lane. You're only following your spirit. A lot of you are doing stuff because you feel like you're supposed to be doing it based on someone else's opinion. You feel me? Do I need to say that again? A lot of you are doing stuff because you feel like you're supposed to be doing it because it's based on someone else's opinion and their expectation. But every day when you clock in or when you do whatever you're doing, there's something in the back of your mind telling you, hey, man, this ain't the path for me. I really shouldn't be doing this. And before you know it, you're 80 years old, 90 years old, and you didn't accomplish what you wanted to do. And this doesn't involve money, because you can make money any type of way. There's, you know what I'm saying? Like money is something that could be made any kind of way. So it's not really money. Money should not be the scoreboard for what you're doing in this reality. There's people right now that volunteer left and right and they don't get compensated financially, but you don't think they get compensated spiritually through what's called dharma or the good works you put out? So I'm here to remind you that instead of following someone else's path, create your own lane. You feel me? Another example is you're posting things online just because you think people want to hear it. A lot of you are posting things just to have people come on there and be like, oh, I agree with you, sister. I agree with you, brother. Like one of the most discouraging comments I receive is people saying I agree. Because I don't post things or say things for people to pat me on the back like I'm with you, brother. I can care less if you're with me. I'm only sharing things because it's on my spirit. And the truth be told, the mob is always wrong. If everybody's saying the same thing, you might want to go in another room because, oh, that room's going to hell. I'm speaking proverbial. I ain't speaking real life hell. But if everybody is saying the same thing, then you need to do something different because that ain't the way. Most people are dumb, deaf, and blind, and the mob is always wrong. The mob is not always right. You feel me? So I want to introduce another topic too. And this may be a reminder for some people, but it's taken from the 48 Laws of Power. One of the most powerful books as far as showing you how people use your power against you. This isn't a book for you to implement all the 48 laws. I'm about to implement this into my life. This isn't what this book is for. But there are some things that are powerful for you to do on your path. But a lot of this stuff is showing you how the powers that were the elite are using against you. Shout out to Robert Greene, legend. So law 25 is recreate yourself. Recreate yourself. For those who are watching this on YouTube, recreate yourself. Do not accept the roles that society foists on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own image rather than letting others define it for you. I'm going to say that again. Be the master of your own image rather than letting others define it for you. Incorporate dramatic devices into your public gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced and your character will seem larger than life. End quote. 48 Laws of Power. So in addition to creating yourself, allow yourself to recreate yourself. You feel me? Like you may stop going down one path, pivot and go down another path and realize that may not be right for you. And you may want to redo it again. Just like me, for instance, I can speak for myself because I know myself the best. Like I've been on YouTube for a minute. If you notice, I go through periods and droughts where I'm not active on YouTube. And then when I came back to YouTube this last time, I'm doing a podcast every week. And I don't care if I lose subscribers. I don't care if I get thumbs down. I don't care if people put comments like, man, Ali, I need you to read. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm following my spirit and I'm allowing myself to recreate myself. So right now, what are you doing to recreate yourself, to create yourself first and foremost, then recreate yourself when you want to pivot? Don't let other people's expectations pigeonhole you from growing and expanding your light as much as you need to. That's a punchline from that. So create yourself, family, create yourself, family, create yourself. Don't follow the path of someone else just because you think you're supposed to. Follow your own path and do it that way. You feel me? So hopefully that makes sense to y'all. Remember, if you want to come on one-on-one, the Life Review Podcast at gmail.com, the Life Review Podcast at gmail.com. Since we're going to give you a link to join me live on the broadcast. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll see if we have anybody that want to come through. If not, go ahead and start posting your questions in the chat and then we'll pop it off that way. All right. So we'll be back after this short intermission. Yo, that beat go hard. That beat go hard. In the words of my son, that beat go hard, yo. All right, so we do have a couple people. These are people I know. Actually, we have a few people now. So let me go in line. We got 3 people. Probably have room for one more. So if you want to jump on, make sure to do so ASAP. Jazz, you're in the building. Salim, you know what I'm saying?
Peace.
What up?
Salim.
Yeah.
So, for one, shout out, peace and blessings be upon him, Master Sai.
No doubt.
I've known him since 2016, and he has never missed a birthday, and he didn't miss it this year, even though he's transitioned. Last night, I had a dream about him, and I know it was a visitation,
Hold on,
but
it's your birthday?
yeah.
Happy born day. Happy
Thank
born
you.
day. For sure, for
Thank
sure.
you. Master Sai visited me in a dream last night.
Hmm.
And I know it was a visit, but I'm pretty sure because of how detailed the dream was, I'm pretty sure it was a message. So I was hoping you could help me with that.
Okay, let's go.
But in the dream, we were in San Francisco at the Golden Gate Bridge, and Master Sai said, and he looked real vibrant. He was real big man. And he was like, I'm glad you made it to California. And he was like, California is not for the weak. And then he said that you're braver than most. So then he turned around and told me to hop on his back. We were at like some type of park under the bridge, and there were people there. And he walked me into the water and submerged my water. Then we came water. I got off his back. He held my hand out the water, which was interesting. He grabbed my hand and we walked up this small hill, and it was like this. It was like a sun, but it wasn't our sun, and it was super bright. It was almost blinding. And he was like, you're headed in the right direction, just keep going. And I just kept walking, and he kind of waved goodbye to me, and I woke up.
Powerful, powerful. So what do you take from that?
That's the thing. I don't know. I'm perplexed about this one. Usually when I dream about water, it's usually about emotions, but the fact that I came out dry was different for me, because usually if I dream about water, I'm like, I'm drowning. But this time he submerged me. I was able to breathe and see under the water, and when we came out, I was completely dry. And I have been doing a lot of self-work, so maybe that was confirmation that I am, because sometimes when you're on your path, you can't really see outside of yourself because you're in the thick of it. You don't really know how you're doing. So maybe that was confirmation that I'm doing the right things to, move in whatever direction I desire to move in. But I wasn't completely sure. I know it was a happy birthday because he's never missed a birthday. So I wasn't completely sure.
That's dope, yo. That's super dope. I think you're overthinking this, Jazzy.
Okay.
Think you're overthinking it. I know for one, peace and blessings be upon them, size the people you look up to the most in this reality since you've been on your path. Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And we already know how powerful he is, right?
We do.
Is this your first interactions with him since he transitioned? Yes or no?
No.
First dream, I should say. I know you did have another.
Dream.
I know you had another interaction you shared in the Accelerator webcast, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. So this is the first dream you had, right?
Uh-huh.
So this would be the most, let's say, pronounced interaction you've had with him, correct?
I agree.
And he came and told you what stuck out from the whole dream. What message stuck out the most from the whole dream?
When he said California ain't for the weak and you're braver than most.
What else?
The water, coming out of the water dry.
What else?
The sun.
What else?
The fact that he was there, and it's my birthday.
And what did he say?
The fact that he was there, and it's my birthday.
And you're on the right.
And I'm on the right. I'm moving in the right direction.
All those were messages like him calling you and talking to you on the phone.
They are.
What you're doing is not for the faint of heart. You coming out in the water, which represents rebirth or a baptism or something like that, a transition, which you have been transitioning. Told you that you're on the right path based on the work you've been doing. So the thing is, like you said, and this is important for everybody, is especially if you're an overachiever or you're hard on yourself, you would feel like what you're doing is not enough. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, it's not enough. Why am I not expanding in this area? Why is this not being a result? Remember, the spirit is unseen. So if you have the ability to see your soul or the ability to see your aura, then you can see how you're growing. But since most people don't have that capability, they don't know how to ascertain how much they're growing. I believe he came to you to show you as a sounding board, so to speak, like, hey, yo, you doing your thug thizzle, and look at you doing it that way, and look at you grow. And knowing you and working with you as much as I have, I would have to co-sign exactly what he said. I told you at the retreat that you're transitioning more into a teaching role. You couldn't do that if you haven't learned lessons as a student in order to give back as a teacher. No way. No way you could. You hear me? Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
You
Lost
good.
you.
You good.
But
But
that's
yeah,
very true.
that's the message, yo. Very clear. Very clear. And I'm glad. I appreciate you for sharing that more importantly. But like everything you said, just don't take it. Don't look deeper than what he said. Just take it for what it is.
Okay. Thank you so much.
That's one that don't need to be decoded and need to be received. That's a bar.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right. Thanks so
Yep.
much.
Enjoy your born day. Appreciate you coming through.
Thank you. Peace.
Peace. Beautiful, yo. Absolutely beautiful. All right, let's keep this thing moving. Like I said, if I have room for one more, so you want to come through the life review podcast at gmail.com, put your question in the email, and Sunseray will give you the link for the show. All right, Mo, what you got cracking? What you got cracking, Mo?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you and I can see you. What up?
Okay, cool. What's up? I'm
Chilling.
kind of under the weather or ascension symptoms. That's what I'm gonna call it. But so for my birthday that just passed, I went back to St. Louis, my hometown, and connected with my family. And I wanted to kind of know that. Well, recently I've been connecting with extraterrestrials. That's what I believe. That's what I've been going through my dreams. And that's just the feeling I've been getting, and I feel an immense amount of love from beyond the stars or where the stars are, whatever the case may be. And I wanted to know that if we have any, like, is it, do our physical family block us from connecting with maybe ancestors that are not, from here? Because I see myself not necessarily resenting my physical family, but it's like when I be around them, I don't connect as much. But from the ETs, I feel more like that's my family.
Interesting question. I'm gonna give a take on it that you're probably not expecting, though. It's an
Okay.
interesting question. Our consciousness is multidimensional.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing that everybody need to understand. Our consciousness is multidimensional. So we have a consciousness that's in the second dimension all the way up to the ninth or 10th or however many dimensions there are. Part of our consciousness is in every dimension. Okay. It's the first thing you have to understand. Secondly, is your consciousness is like a radio station. So, with a radio station, you might be too young, but for people that know what a radio is, it's called a tuner. And you can tune in to specific stations. So right now you're in 3D reality, you're talking to me, and you're on 92.1. That's the station.
Right.
Then when you're by yourself, you might tap in at 96.5, which could be the fourth dimension. We call that daydreaming.
Okay.
Then you go to sleep, you might connect with 97.3. Now your consciousness is fixated in the dream reality or the astral plane. Then you can meditate and maybe you're on 99.7. Now you're connecting to other dimensions of reality.
Right.
It is very difficult to tune in to multiple stations simultaneously. So when you're around knuckle draggers, aka the family, then you're tuned into the mundane radio. You listening to butt popping music, molly popping, whatever you listen to now.
Right.
You feel me? But when you're by yourself, you might be tapped into classical music. You feel me? So depending on what you're doing, depending on what where you're vibrating at, is going to determine what station that you're tuned into.
Right.
That's why it's easier to tap in when you don't have too much humans around you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the next question would probably be, how can you connect with them energies more? The extraterrestrial.
Yeah, I definitely want to start seeing them more, especially this guy that is around me, who energy I feel so strongly. And a lot of people in the group, especially, have pointed him out. But I don't feel like I've seen him myself, and I'm kind of ready for that. So, yeah, that's definitely my next question.
Okay, extraterrestrial. And for those who don't know, most of y'all know I'm a contactee, proud contactee. I've been in contact with extraterrestrial not only once but multiple times, seen spaceships, all that good stuff or whatever. So as a contactee and from my research as well, extraterrestrials speak telepathy. They speak mind to mind. So you could be driving, have a thought pop in your head. It comes through as your regular thought, but it could be an extraterrestrial actually beaming a
Right.
thought to you.
Mm-hmm.
So the way to connect them is through the mind.
Okay.
Through the
Okay.
mind. So the easiest way to connect with spirits as a simple exercise is picture them as clear as possible in your mind's eye.
Okay.
And then communicate with them through your thoughts as if you're speaking.
Mm-hmm.
The more difficult thing is listening and deciphering what you're picking up. Because more
Right.
than likely it's going to come back as your own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
Discerning if
it
it's
gets tricky. And that's why meditation is it's a key exercise and on the spiritual path, something I've been trying to get you to do, for a while now, regularly,
Mm-hmm.
because it help you decipher what your thoughts are and what the thoughts are that are not yours. Like it's easy
Right.
for me to tap in and say, "Oh, this is what I should talk about for the for the podcast." Like it ain't my
Mm-hmm.
thought, even though it's my
Right.
voice, it's not my thought.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
So next thing I need to hear you say is, Ali, I've been meditating for,
Right.
you know what I mean? I've been
I
trying to get you
know.
this meditation tip for a baby minute, yo.
I know. I'm working on it. I am working on it, but it's not where I want it to be, so I ain't got nothing to say about it till it
We either
is.
do or don't. Either do
Right.
it or don't. So we ain't working on we either do it or don't.
I'm
All
doing
right.
it.
You know I'm gonna be a
Yep.
little hard on you. My mentee.
Yep.
I'm gonna be a little hard on you.
That's what I need.
All right, so that's what it do. I'll see you, and when I see you next time,
Okay.
one love to you.
One love.
All right, let's keep this thing moving. We got one more. Um, got a brother coming through.
Oh, it look like me in the building.
Junkyard dog. You know what I'm talking about? What's good, Brody? What's good?
What's happening with you? Can you
All
hear
is
me?
well. All is well. I hear you loud and clear, bro, and I see you.
Oh, okay. Okay. What's going on?
Chilling, bro. All is well.
Okay, I just want to shout my wife out. She's a huge fan of your work, of your we got one of your books. Like one of your books was one of the first books that we got when we started out on our spiritual journey and whatnot. The which one is it? The deity linkage book. Yeah.
Okay, that's peace. Till I said what up. Appreciate it.
All right, cool. Let me just get right to my question before I start babbling.
You good, bro.
Now my question is, I've been running away from the fact that I'm a psychic, I'm a medium and whatnot for a long time, right? Until recently, right? I embraced it. But my question is, professionally, because I'm a creative, how do you advise someone like that to work that aspect of who they are into their creative work? Like, is that, you know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Form the question. Make your question into one question in one sentence. I mean, make that
Okay,
question into one sentence.
very good. All right. What I'm trying to say is, as a psychic medium who wants to pursue a professional career creatively in the creative arts, how do I work that aspect into the work that I'm doing?
What creative work are you doing, bro?
I'm a writer.
Writer? Okay,
Mm,
how often do you write?
every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Okay, when you're writing, describe your writing process to me quickly.
It's really it depends on the mood. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's fiction, sometimes it's poetry, sometimes it's scripts and whatnot.
Describe the process to me. You're about to write. Describe your process. Like how are you gonna go about it? Are you gonna just sit down and write? Or you gonna describe your process?
Well, an idea will pop into my head, right? And before I even sit down to even hash anything out, you know what I mean? I run it through. I kind of marinate on it for a little bit. You know what I mean? To make sure it's not, anything crazy. I might even ask the wife. You know what I mean? If I'm really feeling good about it, I might ask another person, and then I still sit on it, kind of, let it marinate still. And then if it comes back up again, now I'm like, okay, and it comes up with, maybe a little bit more to it. I'll say, okay, I might need to pursue this, and then that's when I'll begin to, I'll start getting visions of, what this character sounds like, what this character looks like, where is this character from, what are his goals, you know what I mean? What's his love life like? You know what I mean? Like I create a whole, you know what I mean, person, a whole nother being, you know what I mean? I go through the whole thing, you know what I mean? So like I really get into the whole forming of the world, but it begins with the character first. That's usually how I go.
Gotcha. What you just described is you integrating your mediumship into your work. You start out by saying it pops into my mind.
Right.
Then I marinate on it. Then I see this and I see that. You just described the whole process of integrating the two within each other. If I could be quite frank, white bro, what I'm hearing is more doubts and lacking confidence.
Right. Yeah.
The gift is not the problem. The doubts is the problem. That's what we call the spiritual block.
Right.
So it's doubts and a little bit not secure all the way in yourself as far as that, like confidently. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do if I were you was intentionalize it, make it more intentional. That intentional, when you intentionalize it, it's going to breed more confidence. So the way this would work is you intentionally, okay, I'm going to breathe for 10 minutes. I'm going to pick up the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm going to write one page regardless of how it comes across. I'm going to put that page to a side. I'm going to come back to that page after a day or two and just create a process. Do that every time. By week 9, 10, you're going to be dope at it, bro. And you're going to have more confidence because you have more of a process. Just the process. You don't have an intentional process right now. You're relying more on your psychic and mediumship abilities. Now you need to merge it and make it more grounded, in my opinion. Does that make sense, bro? It don't matter if it makes sense to me. It makes dumb sense to me. But does it make sense to you?
No, indeed. Yeah, because I never really, gave much thought to integrating the two. I thought it was a thing where, one was separate from the other one. But, as I continue to grow and transform and evolve, I realized that there's really no separation. All things are somehow, linked and connected. So that makes perfect sense because that's kind of like what's been coming up in a lot of the conversations I've been having with my wife, you know what I mean, about how all things are, connected some kind of way, even if you don't see the connection, You think I would know that because I love doing crossword puzzles and stuff.
But you're doing something where you take that art serious, you know what I mean? So sometimes when you take things too serious, you overlook the fine print. You overlook the obvious or whatever because you're looking for the fine print, I should say.
Right.
You're overlooking the obvious, bro. You're already on it. You just have to be confident in that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Get on your God body type ish. You feel me? Like when you go through, like there's certain things I'm gonna do. Like when I'm in my duffel, I don't care what nobody say, bro. I don't need your opinion. Well, I look like speaking a human's opinion for I know something that came from God.
Right. That's why I always tell
I
people.
reported that sound, bro. This came from God.
I always tell people.
Why you care about a human's opinion at that point? Even your wife, no offense to her, or respectfully. But go ahead.
No, I just saying. I always tell people, when they meet me, they want to get into these real deep conversations, and I'm like, hey, look, man, how deep you want to go with this? Like, like I'm warn you beforehand that that's where I'm starting off. That's my starting point. You know what I mean?
Wow. That's deep.
I'm already, I'm already on the 13th floor. So it's like, from there, which way you want to go with this thing, man. So it's like, because I believe that we all somehow know what our own answers are. We just need to hear it echoing from someone else, from another source, or maybe getting it from a source that's not a direct source. You get what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just need a confirmation from somebody who you don't know on the regular. You know what I mean? You might
unbiased.
Yeah, exactly. That's why for some people it's so easy for them to talk to a stranger because they're not gonna see you again. You know what I mean? So
that's real.
Like I said, any move that I make, no matter what it is pretty calculated, and I just want to make sure that I integrate, the, like you said, the God divine aspect of me into anything that I do creatively, because that's gonna make it hit much harder. You know what I mean? Because I'm not looking for fame. You know what I mean? I don't want that. You know what I mean? I have a bigger goal in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like,
beautiful.
I know my galactic signature. You know what I mean? Most people don't. You know what I'm saying? So the sister that you just had on beforehand, before me, I just want to tell her, be encouraged, because I know what it's like to have a dream that's all over the place. And like, man, this isn't coming from me. This came from somewhere else. This definitely came from somewhere else. I know it did. You know what I mean? And like you were saying, I've seen the ships. You know what I'm saying? So I don't play around with the truth. Not no more. I used to. You know what I mean? But I don't play around with the truth. You know what I'm saying? I seen a being as a child the size of a skyscraper smash himself down to fit inside of a suitcase right before my eyes. You know what I'm saying? So, recently I got woke up out of my sleep by a Titan. So I don't play around with this stuff.
Yeah, bro, they all connected to you, bro. The more you speak, the more I'm seeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you definitely are connected. You plugged in, you tapped in that one way, bro. It just now it's time to like slow your mind down and really funnel it. Really,
that's what I told my wife. I said it's like having I got a big weapon, but I just need to know which direction to shoot it, because this is a mega blast right here. Like, I've been an open channel since the day I was born.
Word. Now you need to channel it so people can see it. That's a bar. You know what I'm saying? Now you need to channel that joint, bro. But yeah, keep us posted, man. Anything you want to shout out real quick?
No, just I appreciate, what I'm saying, your teachings, and we get your emails every day. So, you're doing a good work, man. You're doing a real good work.
Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, that's always good to hear people like, what I mean? You never know who you connecting to. I don't do it for that, but you don't know who you're affecting. But I know it's needed in this society, especially, like I said, there's a lot of fugazi people out here. I call a spade a spade. So as more genuine people, I want to inspire more genuine people to do their thing. You feel me? You another one, Brody. You another one. So keep us posted. You definitely locked in, bro. Anytime you want to come through, just let me know, bro. We'll bring you through.
Indeed.
Peace. Beautiful, Bill. Beautiful, yo. All right. So we don't have anyone else. So let's go ahead and go to the question and answer. We got about 14 more minutes left in the broadcast. We'll take another quick break. This is Indra Ali for the Life Review Podcast, coming through every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. When I come back, I'm going to see some questions in the chat box. Let's get this thing cracking. All right, we back. All right, so let's get these questions popping off. Also, remember the show is sponsored by spiritualaccelerator.com. That's my exclusive membership community. Too many benefits to list. Just go to the website spiritualaccelerator.com. There's also things on that's not on the website that we've implemented. Shout out to Mo, shout out to Jazz, shout out to Saran, shout out to Kenny. But we got some other things as well. And as always, L9shop.com, EL9shop.com. That are our spiritual metaphysical store with me and my weird son Saray, hand of crafted items, ancestor money, Joss paper, soaps, lotions, is holistic, metaphysical, and spiritual. That's where you go for that. You want to support the show and also copy some things that will work for you. So let's get to the questions. And a shout out to my to the God Gwitty, the commentates. Let's see any question that we have. Go ahead and pop them up, and I'll get them answered to the best of my ability. Yeah. Okay. Indra, I remember you mentioning briefly a while back that cremation is better than burial. Can you please explain this? Thank you. Okay, when you remember in the I think it's in the Bible where it say ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That's showing you that you're going back to something, you're going back to nothingness. When you leave this physical reality, you're actually going back to nothingness. So what's the point of having a body? You don't need your body to go back to nothingness. So if you get rid of the body, then you don't have to be fixated on the body. A lot of people, when they transition, or even, let's not even take it that deep, but if you astral travel or you get out of the body on an out of body experience or something like that, most people automatically look back at their body because you're so fixated with your body because you've been in this joint for like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years. So you're focused on this ship, the one you're traveling with. But if you get rid of the body, it's going to be easier not to look back because you don't have nothing to look back at besides your family and stuff like that or your possessions. But without a body, it's going to be easier to transition or go to the next level, aka the afterlife. So there's many signs, many different things if you want to look it up and research. But that's the main thing, is you won't be so focused on your body once you transition if you get cremated because the body is already gone. All right, next. And there's a slight delay, so that's why it's going to take me a minute. I know she got to pull up the joint. While she does that, shout out to everybody in the building. I see B, Brooklyn in the house, Black Knight, what up, Kalana, Firipu Productions, maybe sound that, Kenneth, Jazz, the Soul Coach, seen Ma Deuce earlier. I see you after the show. I'll be coming through. D. Marie, Bougie B, Natasha was good, Peaceful One, C. Dead, Christine, Miss Coco B, what up, y'all? Saran was good, what a good, was goody, yo. Okay, how to deal with the feelings of I'm not doing enough. Start to gauge it by what you're actually doing. Start to have a different barometer as opposed to, because that's general. I'm not doing enough. So what I recommend as far as that, without getting too flowery and theoretical, is every AM upon awakening, write down 3 things that you want to do for that day. This is an ancient self-development, personal development technique. So we ain't recreating the wheel right here, but we're going to take something that actually works. Write down 3 things that you want to accomplish for that particular day. At the end of the night, go through your 3 things and mark, did I accomplish this? Check. Did I accomplish that? If you didn't, put an X on there and then write in the journal about your experience from accomplishing those things. So I once heard it like it's as much as making your bed first thing in the morning is a way of showing that you're already accomplishing something when you get up. You know what I mean? Because most people don't make their bed. So just making your bed when you first wake up is like, I'm accomplishing something. So in my opinion, without speaking to you directly, this is a matter of accomplishing things, getting things done. So I would do that. Write 3 things down when you wake up, bam, 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 that you want to accomplish. And before you go to bed, Check. Did I knock that out? Did I knock this out? Did I knock that out? When I found myself less focused in life, I go back to that often or whatever, writing down just simple things that you want to accomplish throughout the day. Okay. What would you suggest for a person that has a hard time meditating? Are there any special techniques? Meditation is difficult because most people don't just put it in time. I know you've heard of, or you may not have heard of, but they say it takes 10,000 hours to master something. I believe they accredit that with Malcolm Gladwell. Don't quote me on that. And also the 10,000 is just an arbitrary number. It doesn't matter. It takes mad time to master something. So I noticed with me, the first when I started meditating, like it was all kinds of monkey mind thoughts and this or that, and man, what am I going to do after this, or what am I going to eat, or just random, just Negro thoughts that really didn't have anything to do with anything. But now when I scry, I can focus on one thing forever, however long it takes. My mind doesn't sway. You know what I mean? Just answer these questions, making me realize how advanced I've become in my scrying or meditation, because I'm able to just focus on whatever I need to focus on, or not focus on whatever I don't need to focus on. That's a jewel. You feel me? So it's just a matter of putting the time in. Because the next thing, if I ask you how long do you meditate, how often you meditate, it's probably going to be not that much. But I can assure you, if you meditate for 5 minutes a day, after 1 year, you're going to be way more focused and way more intentional and way easier to get into a meditative state. So my answer to that is, it's just a matter of putting in that time, putting in that pain. You feel me? So you ain't put enough hours in. You're welcome, Soul Coach. Very welcome. Those, and you don't have to thank me or nothing. Everybody who comes on here, I'm assuming you already saying thank you. So you're welcome in advance, but you ain't gotta thank me and all of that stuff or whatever. I am highly spiritual, but it seems like no one around me is. I often feel out of place, like I don't belong. I'm always questioning myself. How do I become more content or not care what others think? This is going to differ per person. That's why this would probably be better for a one-on-one. But I'll put it like this. If you are working on yourself, if you are growing spiritually, remember that this is a lonely path initially. That's the part that people don't, add to it. It's a lonely path initially. But then once you put in enough work, once you've ascended enough, it's just like with anybody else that's successful, people want to be around successful people. I am by no means consider myself a highly successful person. I don't view myself that way. But if I didn't want to be by myself, I can entertain company from a number of different people because I know they want to be around me because they view me as a certain way. So in my opinion, you haven't ascended enough or become a valuable a resource for people or successful enough in other people's eyes, the way they view you, for them to want to be around you, because everybody wants to be around successful people. So I say this respectfully. I'm not saying this to demean you or put you down. There's something that you're not showing either to yourself or other people to let them know that you are a valuable asset or valuable person, a resource, somebody that people want to be in their network. If you do that, people always want to be around you. It's just like if you're highly attractive as a female, you would never be lonely. You can just go out, put on some bad boots and walk out somewhere. Niggas gonna holler at you left or right. You feel me? Like they want to get with you because they see you as somebody that they want to be around. Same with a man. So it's just a matter of becoming a valuable asset, a resource that people want to network with. That'd be my opinion about that. Okay, what are some tips you can give to trust your intuition? Okay, I would say a simple. Let me give a couple. First and foremost, meditation is going to be numero uno. Meditation is probably going to be number one on anything dealing with the unseen, extraterrestrial, paranormal, psychic, intuition, and meditation. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Also, I would recommend keeping like a piece of paper or a small notebook around, or even a digital notebook. Whenever you get some sort of insight or some sort of intuitive thought, write it down and follow up with that intuitive thought. A lot of people get intuitive thought and they just sit on it. And then they just post on social media when they see somebody posting about, like, brother, that's a confirmation. That's a confirmation. Now, y'all know my thing. I'm sick of hearing people say that's a confirmation. Once you get a sign, you should act on it. You shouldn't need a confirmation. You shouldn't need someone to confirm it. So once you get the intuitive thought, actually act upon it. You get the intuitive thought to eat a certain thing, write it down. I got a thought to eat this thing, then actually go eat the thing. You get an intuitive thought to go to like the next town, instead of like say, oh, I don't know why I should go to the next town or what's over there. Go to the next town and see where your spirit leads you. So it's a matter of getting your intuitive thought and following it up with real life action. Remember, the law of attraction is about action. That's why the word action is in attraction. A lot of you are trying to meditate and focus and fake it till you make it and do affirmations and all this dumb stuff. Not saying it don't work, but that's only half the battle. The more battle is actually putting in that pain, or actually going forth through whatever you're putting up through intuition. So it's a matter of following through with real life action based on your intuition. So I would do those two things. What else? What else? All right, one more question, babe. One more question. Even though we cannot eliminate suffering and problems completely because we have lessons to learn and tests to pass, how can we be sure the universe is working with us and not against us regardless? Even though we cannot eliminate suffering and problems completely because we have lessons to learn and tests to pass, how can we be sure that the universe is working with us and not against us? I know I hate to be like nitpicky, but I just gotta keep it real, yo. Like, the universe is never working for you or against you. The universe is an unbiased aspect of reality that is balanced. You're working against you or for you. What are you doing that makes you feel like that you're not following through with what you should be doing? If you don't have, I'm assuming you don't have any kind of mental disabilities, or you don't have any mental challenges. If you do, please, pardon self or whatever. I'm not trying to pick at a scab or anything like that. But if you feel like in your heart that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and then something happens, that's not the universe punishing you. Just like people say, oh, I'm being blessed because I did this. That's not the universe blessing. Universe can care less about your human existence. That's an alarm clock. The creator, the most high, the universe don't view reality in that way. But you came here as a sovereign being, as an aspect of the creator. So let me say it like this. If you do something quote unquote right, and then you get in a car wreck the next day, is that the universe punishing you? Or was that supposed to happen? A lot of parts that people, especially spiritual people, have a difficult time grasping is there's a certain amount of destiny. There's a certain amount of fate. There are certain things that you're going to go through in this reality. So when you're going through it, it's not the universe punishing you, it's for to teach you a lesson. Because that same lesson or that same thing you needed to learn could have been a repeat incarnation after incarnation that you have failed to realize. So the universe has to slap it on you. Just because you're doing quote unquote good don't mean good things are going to happen to you. And just because you're doing quote unquote bad things doesn't mean bad things are going to happen to you. A lot of times it's already written. Therefore, you have to experience it. So I wouldn't look at the universe punish me. You might as well be a Christian and be like the God and the devil. Because we made fun of Christians. We're like, oh man, God is good. And then something happened bad. Oh, the devil's at play. You know what I'm saying? Like, how weird does that sound? Just think, if there is an all-power creator being, you think he cares about your human feelings and emotions. Hell, you're already on earth. You done went through slavery, racism, sexism, all kinds of gender problems. Dude, this planet is a poop show, for lack of better words. It's laughable the way humans do humans. There are beings and planets where this wouldn't exist. So if the creator cared about your human existence that much, why would you be on earth, or why would earth even exist? We have to be wiser as spiritual beings and don't view reality as a punishment system. You know what I mean? But if you want to look at it that way, then so be it. So hopefully that makes sense. And if I hurt your feelings, that's not my intention. All right. So that's what it is. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Shout out to my weird son Ray for moderating. Shout out to the other moderators. Shout out to the 3 people that came through. Shout out to everybody that's watching us live, and shout out to everybody that's watching this on the playback. I will be back next Wednesday, Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll keep doing this thing until the wheels fall off. Until next time, this has been Indra Ali. Peace.